Brendan Johnston.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
It's great to
Uh,
have you.
uh, Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Man, yeah, this is exciting. You're my first sculptor. It's a good transition though, because you're also a painter. So it's a good sort of transition into the sculpture world. But yeah, this is great, man. Your stuff is just insane. I've been following you for years. That it's so cool what you do with, how do you put it? Like, well, something besides marble. I mean, you're doing sculptures and all these crazy cool different materials.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a bit of a journey. I love materials, and stone is a little bit kind of a logical conclusion in a way. So I just kind of followed the journey through, and
Hmm.
yeah, I've been working on various types of stone, and I've also been doing paintings on stone
Really?
much more recently. Yeah, which has been a lot of fun.
Did you include some of those in the
At the
pitch?
very end, yeah.
Really? Okay.
hmm
Yeah, I'm anxious to see that. So why paint on stone? What's the thinking behind that?
it's the most beautiful material, or one
Right,
of
but
them. I
you're
mean,
covering it with paint. What am I missing?
you leave some of it exposed, or else it's
Oh,
pointless.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, first of all, you have to remind me. I feel like I interviewed your wife.
Yes, that's right.
Who
So
was
Katie
that
Whipple.
now? It's been
Katie
150
Whipple.
people. Okay, that's right. Okay, and you guys met at Grand Central.
Yes, yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, that place is like, man, that's a love nest over there. Lots of people getting married.
A lot of people getting married. Our joke is a little bit, Jacob Collins should be mandatory godfather to all
Yeah,
of the children of the couples.
that's wild. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
All right, so
Um,
speaking of Grand Central Academy, let's back way up. I want to hear about how you got into this whole art thing.
sure. So I had somewhat of a late start, I think, a little bit. I I had a tough time in school. I was one of these kids where it was a little bit of a square peg in a round hole type thing.
Hmm.
I had a tough time getting through school, and I unfortunately went through a school system that didn't really have much of a fine art program. Um, my high school did, but even my college didn't. So I actually came to art through art history. I was an art history major. It's kind of the one thing I was really fascinated by in school, which I found in high school, and then I was an art history and sort of classics major in college. And
They had art history classes in your high school?
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. I can't
There was
remember
an
if my high school offered that or not.
AP art history is
No
usually
kidding.
offered in most public and private high schools.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just a visual person. I couldn't absorb information through the written word.
But were you
And
drawing or anything or sculpting at that point?
Not really. I
Really?
remember, yeah, I remember when I was very young, there was a woodworking program at my elementary school, and it was my absolute favorite thing to do. And then they canceled it because they needed to make space for a kindergarten. And I was just heartbroken by it. And there was a small art program, but we met like once every 2 weeks for 30 minutes or something. So it was pretty
Yeah.
minor, which was unfortunate. And so
Where
yeah,
is
I
this, by
figured
the
out.
way? Where'd you grow up?
Um, I grew up in New York City.
Really, in New York City? And
Yeah.
that's all they had in the school in New York City. You think of New York City as the art mecca.
Well, space is a premium. So
Yeah, that's true.
sometimes, it was in Manhattan. Sometimes the first thing to go, you need a lot of space for art programs, and I think the school I went to now rebuilt its art program, but when I went through, it definitely wasn't there. And then when I got to high school, I thought I was going to be interested in acting, which was absolutely completely wrong for me. And so then I got to college, and I really focused in on art history, which I love. But I went to McGill University in Montreal. They didn't really have a fine art program either. So it's just kind of bad luck in a weird way. But then once I graduated, I found just through sheer luck the sort of academy Atelier school system.
Hmm. Okay, I'm distracted here by something. You grew up in New York
Sure.
City. Aren't you living in New York City now too?
No, we're out on Long Island.
You have absolutely no New York accent.
Um, the, the New York accent, the heavy New York accent is if you grow up in Brooklyn, Queens, and areas of downtown. If you grow up on sort of northern Manhattan, you don't have an accent. But then if you grow up on sections of Long Island, you have a heavy Long Island accent. So no, I don't have a New York
Really?
accent. Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, I grew up in Newburgh, New York. Do you know where that is?
Upstate, right?
Yeah, it's like 60 miles north of the city. And I'm telling you what, dude, I had more of an accent than you before I came to Utah. That's crazy.
Did you have a cup of coffee this morning?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. My sister still sounds like a cab driver, and she's been in California for 25 years. That's funny. Well, that's great. Interesting. Anyway, sorry to get off on a tangent. I never would have
No,
guessed
not
you
at
grew up
all.
in the city. That's wild.
Yeah.
So anyway, you found this Atelier system. And
Mhm.
how did you end up finding it? Was it the internet or just because it's right near you?
No, a little bit of both. My dad actually knew Judy Kudlow, who's a painter, and she ran a school back then. It was called the Harlem Studio of Art with Andrea Smith,
Mm-hmm.
who was a Florence Academy teacher, and she started a school in up in Harlem. So during summers during college, I tried out different New York art schools. I went to Art Students League and took a summer class. I even went up to Columbia to take a summer class. And they were all a little bit, for me, kind of dead ends. It wasn't, I was really, I think, inside looking for, a rigorous,
Mm-hmm.
I'd looked at so much, really phenomenal art throughout, Italian Renaissance, French Baroque, things like that. I knew where I wanted to go, and they didn't quite offer, or at least the summer program. I don't want to speak negatively of the schools. They produce a lot of great people, but I kind of knew what I wanted, and as soon as I walked into Harlem Studio and I saw them doing bargs and cast drawings, I was like, okay, this is it.
About what year was this?
Uh, 2007, 2008.
Okay. Wow.
And yeah, and so I studied with Andrea sort of part time, and I went through the Florence Academy drawing and cast drawing program. And then the school was sort of Andrea was contemplating moving back to Australia, and the school was actually quite small, so I was a little bit on my own up there. And I kept hearing about GCA, and so I switched over and went to GCA in 2008.
Okay. And what did you find to be, or did you see much of a difference between the two schools?
Yeah, I knew that I didn't want to do site size. I
Why is
was
that?
really, it's sort of, it's a mode of transference without, let's see, I want to put it clearly. So they call it there's so many different ways people talk about drawing. It's called the envelope method. So you sort of build the figure from inside out using anatomy and structure and shapes. And site size, you use a string and transfer points across from the model onto
Right.
your paper. And then, GCL also had a small sculpture program. And, it used to be in Midtown at this point, and they had this huge collection of life-size plaster casts. I walked in the front door, all these students were drawing from life-size plaster casts. I was like, I want in on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I entered into the full-time GCA program in 2008. And then I was hooked. I was completely addicted. And so I went through their whole program. And I also spent a fifth year there focusing on sculpture, specifically portraiture, which I loved. And it was I was there at a time of a great group of students. Colleen Berry was a year ahead of me. Will St. John was there. Katie was a year below me. It was really, Justin Wood was a year above me. There was a lot of really fun, energetic people studying there at that time.
Yeah, that's quite a group right there. I've had a bunch of them on the podcast. That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun.
So, how did you end up landing on sculpture? When you had, so you must have had about 3 or 4 years of drawing and painting, and then
Yeah.
1 year of sculpture.
So they start the sculpture program. You're introduced to it in the beginning. Friday afternoons, you're in the sculpture room copying, the David mouth, the David nose, and then you're doing
From year one.
From year one.
So oh, I didn't realize that.
So the students who were drawn to it end up focusing more and more on sculpture. Now they have a bigger sculpture program, so there are people who go in just for sculpture. But back then, sculpture was kind of a little bit of a side project.
Mm-hmm.
And it came easily to me. I just loved it, and it parallels very nicely with the way Jacob was teaching drawing, and modeling and painting. Focusing on form, 3 dimensions, again, anatomy, and so it just fit in really nicely with the curriculum.
Did you work in stone there, or did you mostly work in clay?
No, just clay. Stone came much later.
Water-based clay, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they didn't work at all in oil-based clay?
No, actually, if you can pull up those images, I kind of started. It's funny, I've been listening to your podcast for a while, and I always just did it on audio. And then finally I forget who you were interviewing, and you were talking about the specifics of the painting. I was like, okay, I gotta watch this. And ever since then I've watched. So I set up a bunch of drawings because obviously we're visual language. So this one's coming up small for some reason. Go to the next one, maybe.
No, I can zoom in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Some of these aren't the greatest quality. So this is an example of GCA. I think I did this my second year. Figure drawing, it was like a 3-week or 4-week pose, but that's just an example. It's a terrible quality image, but just to give you an idea.
Yeah, it's pretty low res. Yeah.
Sorry, if they get better, we'll move on.
Wow,
that's another example. White chalk. I was looking at Proudhon, I think. That model was named John. He was kind of our favorite. But these are just quick examples.
Now, when you're studying there, are you guys exaggerating anatomy at all? Are you?
No, he looked like this.
Really? That guy's in great shape.
Yeah, he was. No, now they're focusing a little bit more on structure drawing. So there is possibly a little bit more exaggeration now, but back then, no, it was all accuracy. It was just 100% accuracy.
So he really had those nice serratus and everything.
Yeah, and then 2 years later, he decided to become 300 pounds.
Shut up! No way.
Yeah, and then he decided to drop it again. He
what?
He was a character. Yeah, he was our favorite model.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
So this is an example of a drawing. I think I did this maybe 3rd or 4th year. Portrait drawing. A little bit of Colleen started to teach at this point.
That's beautiful. I love the hatching in this.
This is also when GCA started to change a little. Earlier on, it was much more smooth modeling, focusing on form, and then it started to switch over to focusing a little more on structure.
Why is that? Was there a certain person that's on
Colleen's influence, I think. And then, the students, it's interesting. The school is very influenced by the work that the students are doing. It has a little bit of one of the wonderful things about it. It's a little bit flexible. It's, if one student gets really good at something and really wants to focus on it, then other students will follow. And Jacob's very open to different ideas. Same with Ted and all the other teachers.
Wow, that's great. I got to get Jacob Collins on here.
Yeah, so this is a final cast drawing. So
that's a drawing.
Second year, so it's on tone paper, whitened with white chalk. graphite white chalk on tone paper.
That's a trip. It really. So these darks are the paper?
The darks are graphite. The paper is like a grayish. So the areas in his forehead is the paper.
It looks,
The
that's
medium.
insane. It almost looks like paint. That's
Saves a lot
wild.
of using tone paper saves a lot of time.
So the base is, you're
White
really
chalk.
using a lot of white chalk on
Yeah,
that base.
yeah.
I think that's why it's so unusual. You got this silvery top half and this soft sort of matte bottom. That's wild.
So the shadow in the base is the paper, I think.
Okay. I have never seen
Um,
anything like this.
but this is one again. GCA had all these amazing casts. They still have some of them, but they were under the auspices of the Institute of Classical Art and Architecture that owned that had on permanent loan, I think, from the Metropolitan Museum these beautiful casts. So, and you can see
What a
where
gift.
interest in sculpture starts to come in.
Yeah.
And then this is my final cast painting. It's Laquan. The last one was a boxer of Quirinal. This one is the Laquan head.
This is gorgeous. Wow.
So, and we were doing, it's window shading. Go back for a sec.
Yeah.
So the way Jacob teaches, which is a really hard way to paint, but in a way, if you learn the hardest thing to do, then, you have that skill set. Painting
Right.
in other
Everything else
methods
is a
little
vacation.
easier.
Yeah.
And not to say I'm on a vacation, believe me.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Has ever been, but we paint it from top to bottom, just in almost a single pass.
Uh-oh, your mic said something weird.
Can you still hear me?
Oh, no. Now we're good. It got real quiet
Okay.
for a sec. So what is the logic behind that? I've always observed from a distance and wondered why this window painting. Is there some justification for it?
Yeah, it's the idea that if you paint it one and done, you really focus. And if you paint it thinking I can come back on a second pass, you don't push yourself to really, really, really observe and think about the form and think about the light. If you say, I just have one chance to do this and I'm going to give it my all, and then the next day you move on and say, this part, this curl in the beard, I'm just going to paint this today to the best of my abilities, and you keep going throughout. And I think it's a great way to paint. That's how the Italian frescoes were made. That's probably the hardest way to paint. And after that, I think easel painting in oil is probably pretty easy. But anyway, that's part of the thought process behind it.
But what about with a moving model? I've often wondered how you manage that. If you've kind of finished ahead, and in the meantime, the model has shifted dramatically.
So you do a drawing first and transfer the drawing, and then you're committed. So
okay, gotcha.
You take a day, and the arm's already drawn in. And if it's moved a little, you just paint it how it is. You just fit it into your drawing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, let's see what else you got here.
So this was it looks like it's a painting, it's not. This is a copy of the Giuliano de' Medici head. So that's plaster. I made the copy in clay, and then
I was gonna say, I'm like, I could not figure out what medium it was.
Yeah, no, it's a plaster head.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So again, it's just 1-to-1. Really forcing yourself to observe. And half of the time of this, I was just a hairstylist. So many curls.
Are you using calipers and whatnot to really match proportions?
Yeah, calipers.
Wow.
I've been doing Jeff's online mentorship program for about a year now, and it is awesome. Everything is online, super streamlined. If you can be there, you have the ability to talk to him once a week, and he can review your work and help you. If you can't be there, it's pre-recorded. You can go back and even re-watch things if you missed something during class or couldn't be there. So the online portion of it is almost better than real life because you can always go back to it, which is awesome. The demos are recorded. It's just all available whenever you need it. And I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4, and my time is limited. and it's also very interrupted. And so to be able to go back has been clutch for me. And you get to work with Jeff HEIN, who's awesome. He's tough. The assignments are simple, but difficult, and they're difficult to make us all better. And he's able to give us these assignments, coach us through it, help us stay excited to progress. And so it's just been a great experience. I am so grateful that he has been willing to take time away from his own art to offer all of us to have it. So if you're thinking about doing it, it's amazing.
To learn more about how you could have me as a personal mentor, check out the link to HEINatelier.com in the show notes or video description.
And then this was a painting I did. So this is very much in Jacob's style. I painted this in his studio. He would hire models and have graduates come paint. So that's a near life size painting that I would have done with Jacob. A little under life size, yeah.
Wow, that's big. Geesh. It's gorgeous.
Thanks. And then, so Katie won a fellowship to go study. This was after we started dating. She won a fellowship to go study in Rome for 3 months at the American Academy in Rome. This was through the ICA. They have a biannual award, which I recommend every artist should apply to this thing. It's incredible. The American Academy in Rome is, have you heard about it?
I haven't, no.
So it's this incredible, well, that's because mostly it tailors to contemporary and postmodern artists, but it was designed by Stanford White and funded by JP Morgan. And it was built, I don't know what year, late 1800s, most likely. And it was for American artists to go study in Rome, and do what used to be called the Grand Tour. The English and the French used to go down to Italy to study. Specifically to Rome. And so it's this beautiful building, and all it has is artist studios with, 30-foot ceilings, enormous studios with light. So now it caters to people who go through, Yale Art School and things like that. But we went over and they have this program where you can get access to museums that artists can't normally get access to. So they got us into the Vatican, and I was able to, Katie took this picture at the very end of the day. Normally there'd be like 300 people around me. But
300 other artists or just
people? No, just people visiting. It's the Vatican Museum,
right. Okay.
And it's a very famous, that's the Lacan series. So we went over to Italy and studied, just the two of us, looking at Italian and Greek statuary and drawing from them, things like that.
What benefit did you, if any, did you find in doing that, in copying statues?
I think you learn there's a language, there's a language to Greek and Roman statuary and paintings. We were copying paintings in museums too. You've done master copies.
I haven't. Can you believe that?
No?
No.
Wow. Yeah, you learn a lot. You learn paint handling and how they would build up layers, and you get to go into, the Borghese, and the Borghese didn't let us paint, but the escapes me now, but some of the other museums would let us go in and actually set up an easel and copy, Caravaggio or whoever else. So yeah, there's a lot to learn, and it's just exposing yourself to these great pieces of art.
So there's something different, because I didn't do master copies, but I went back and forth to various museums to study Rembrandt. And I would take notes, then I'd come back and I'd do a painting, and then I'd go back and see if I had figured anything out, and then I'd go back to my studio and do a painting. Is there something in particular about sitting in front of the painting? I mean, I think I know the answer. You may have already really kind of answered it, but about just sitting there and doing it right there, real time in front of the painting, as opposed to my approach.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of it is just adrenaline.
Really?
But yeah, at the end of GCA, we did the copy program at the Met, which has a really robust, very open program. So I got to copy Velasquez's portrait. Now I'm forgetting his name. It's the guy who was his assistant, the Juan de Pareja, which is his very, very famous portrait. And I was just on cloud nine. I had 4 days to do it. And so I did the drawing at home. I got the whole thing prepped, transferred the drawing to canvas, because it's kind of not the point. You really want to look at the painting and the layering. And yeah.
So you're trying to copy their exact approach.
Yes.
Not just the image. So it's not like you're looking at a photograph. You're trying to figure out exactly how they layered the paint and do it exactly the way you're observing them having had done it.
Yeah. Copying from a photo of a painting helps too, but being in the presence of it, you can see how thick that highlight is, and did they put a glaze over the highlight? And Rembrandt is amazing for that. Those Rembrandts in DC, that portrait in DC, I'd die to copy that.
Oh man, I'd love to be able to sit in front of some of his and do it. Although I don't know that I still don't know that I've ever figured it out. He's got so many layers. It's just hard to know what he did.
You can't.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So here's a few. Oh, man, that's beautiful.
Thanks.
Man, that looks like so much fun. Is this from the actual David?
Yeah. Yeah. So then we went up to Florence, and they let me in. They saw, so it's the David is at the Academia. It's called the Academia. It's actually connected to a school. So they're somewhat open to students drawing there. I went in every day. They got to know me, so they were a little more flexible with me than I think maybe other artists, but you're allowed to go draw there.
Wow.
And so they have benches and a couple chairs. And so I'd go in and just put my headphones on and draw.
Amazing.
And this is I think my favorite work of art period is the Medici Chapel in Florence, and this is the Figure of Day. So this time in Florence, I hadn't, all I'd done is a couple portraits in clay, but this is when I was really exposed to a lot of the stone carvings over there and that beautiful Italian marble. So he's just this massive beast of a figure that Michelangelo did.
Have you done any sculptures in the traditional marble, just plain white marble?
Yeah, I did one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that in this group of images?
No, but I could maybe send it to you and we could pull it up.
Okay. I'm curious what it looks like. So this was done at CGA.
So this, yeah, after our year in Italy, we went back, and GCA moved to Queens to get a bigger space so that students and graduates could work there. So I went back and got a studio space, shared it with Jacob and Justin Wood and a few other people. And I was able to work there as a graduate, and the benefit of that, so I had my own space and I was doing still lifes and things, but you could also get in on the models. So I sat up in the side of the room and did this portrait of Jamal, who was actually a student. Yeah, so this is an example of portrait painting I did still at GCA, but as a graduate.
Did you set up the sweater on a mannequin or something, or did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say that would be so tedious.
No, the sweater and the background were done way after.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Thanks. Here's just another example of graduate GCA portrait.
And how long did you spend there after you graduated?
About 4 years.
Really?
4 years.
That long? So you were there a total of what, 9 years?
Yeah, I was teaching. So I was also teaching. I was teaching introductory drawing and a few other classes there. So it was great. You have your own studio space to do your own work. You share models with friends. I was also doing sculptures you get access to the sculpture room too. So, it's really hard as an early artist to have a studio where you can do sculpture and painting and have models. And, so it was very kind of beneficial for my few years after graduating.
One thing I'm really excited about having you on is I've done some sculpture, and I'm not bad at it, but I just came back from London and Paris, and there are certain things about the sculpture that really stood out to me, like exaggerations in the depth of the eyelids, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme exaggeration. And I'm kind of curious about that sort of stuff, because I sort of I find that when I do a portrait in clay, that I treat it almost like a portrait in oil, where I'm very literal. What is your approach to sculpture? Are you thinking in that way, very literal? I don't think you are, because I don't think you'd be as beautiful as it is. Or are you exaggerating things like I'd pointed out, like the eyelids, in order to create deeper shadows?
So with sculpture, you can't be one-to-one when it comes to things like eyes and hair.
You can't.
No, hair has to be designed, unless you're bald, unless you're like me. If you've got a straight up cranium, you can. But if you've got beards too, they have to be designed. Hair has volume, so it's got to be designed. And then eyes, if you just were to sculpt the form, the person would look blind. So you have to dig into the eyeball to replicate the change in value in the iris and the pupil. So I can show you that soon. This is just the beginning setup. This is to show you, this is the GCA sculpture room, and this is the beginning of a terracotta portrait. So I'm just stacking the clay, because it's going to be terracotta, which is a little more difficult. There can't be any air bubbles, because it eventually has to be hollowed out and fired. So if you go to this is just the very rudimentary stage. And then this is just, it's the equivalent of a block-in. It's just getting the shapes. So this was influenced. There's a wonderful terracotta in the Frick Museum in New York. And one day there was an event there, and I was able to walk behind it to see how the internal structure was made, how it was hollowed out. So I took some photographs of it, and then I wanted to make my own version. And so
get behind it. So it's hollowed out from the back, not up the center.
Yeah. It's hollowed out the back and then up the neck from the back.
I don't think I understand. So there's no backside to it.
No, there is, but it's hollow through the neck up into the head. I'll show you in a sec.
Okay. I'm jumping ahead here. Sorry.
So
God, look at that. That's beautiful.
So here she is, just halfway. Initially, my sculpture teacher, Che, while I was a student, taught me, he had me complete the whole. So I approach sculpture a little as a painter. Normally, what you do is you do a sculpture in clay, then you do a mold, and then you take that mold and put it in plaster and maybe bronze. That's how it's normally done. But I hate, you lose the original when it gets transferred to plaster. It's just the sense that you kind of lose all the little, the immediacy. There's something really beautiful in the original clay, because it's the immediate reaction to the model, to life. I
agree. When I've gotten stuff bronzed, I've always been a little disappointed. That's not what I sculpted.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
There's a phrase that a sculpture is born in clay, it dies in plaster, and it's reborn in marble. That's the very old tradition. But
bronze doesn't even get into that saying.
No, bronzes can be beautiful. I mean, I love Rodin bronzes and I love Carpeaux bronzes. Don't get me wrong; they can be incredible, but it's a different beast. So anyway, I wanted to learn how to do terracotta because you keep the original. So first he had me finishing the entire sculpture and then cutting it in half to hollow it out. But then it's hard to redo the seam when it's firmed up. So I started hollowing it out halfway through the process, which is why you see that huge pen is holding up the chin as I hollow it out, because the clay is still somewhat soft at this point.
So the front of the head could just potentially fall right off.
Yes. So that's an X-Acto knife. I'm just cutting out the back of her head to hollow it out.
That's insane. And
Go to
how,
the next one?
okay, maybe you're going to answer this on the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is. From the other side.
Oh yeah, I can
So
see why
that's
you
a
need
plastic-
that pen. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, there's very little. So I take out that plastic bag, I just pull that out, and I hollow out her head and patch it back, put the back of her head back on.
So how even of a thickness does the wall need to be?
About 1.5 inches.
About
Inch.
1.5 inches, but that's what I'm
About
saying.
an inch. About an inch.
But how
So,
much forgiveness is there? I mean, how much leeway do you have? If it's not exactly an inch, are you in trouble?
I've never had a sculpture explode, but if the clay is too thick in certain areas, it'll warp or crack
Really?
or blow up if there's an air bubble. When it's
God, that's
fired.
nerve-wracking.
When it's
After
fired.
all that work, could you imagine?
Well, that's why I hollow it out halfway through the process. But yes, a lot of you just, it's about being really careful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Wow.
And then here she is, almost finished,
But she's all
See, but
hollowed out.
all hollowed out and through the back. I didn't send you a photo of the back of her. I should have done that. But behind all that drapery and her shoulders, it's hollow from the back. And then
So there's
the neck
no
is in the round.
sculpture underneath the neck in the back.
Yes. There's no clay. It's only 1 inch thick and down to about her shoulder blades, and then it's empty. So you could technically, if you were to walk to the other side of this, you could look up and through her neck.
Really?
Yeah.
And what's the reasoning for that? Is that common? I don't know that I've ever noticed that in a sculpture.
Well, if you're going to fire it as a terracotta, you have to hollow it out. It has to be about an inch.
No, I know
or
you have to
an inch
hollow it
and a half.
out, but why not? Is it a standard practice to not put on a backside, like a thin layer for the backside of the shoulders?
I have seen terracottas where they have filled in. So that goes down through her maybe mid shoulder blade. So yeah, it's not meant to be viewed fully in the round. It's meant to be viewed from sort of everywhere except the very back.
Gotcha.
But most terracottas are generally not in the round unless they're a thin figure.
Okay. I'm going to pay attention to that. Do you see many terracottas in museums? I can't think of really.
In the Louvre, the Louvre, there's lots. In the Met, there's a bunch. They're usually smaller. They're usually studies and maquettes. It's a little bit more rare to have fully big finished pieces, but National Gallery in London has a bunch of terracottas. There's usually 1 or 2 in every major museum, probably much more in their basements, but yeah.
What's the scale of this?
Life size.
So you need a pretty big furnace for this thing?
Yeah, they're generally made pretty big. I fired her easily on her own in a furnace.
And what kind of furnace are you using? Using the same thing that a potter would use, or is something else?
Yeah, there's a pottery. Queens has lots of Queens and Brooklyn have lots of sort of pottery and ceramicists collectives, and you can rent out a kiln for not that much.
Is that what you did here? They don't have one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to. It was actually really stressful. I made, I don't know, 10 or 15 terracottas, and I had to drive them all. You let them dry out. But they're still, when they're dried out, they're very delicate. They've been fired. It goes, forget the terminology. It becomes stoneware or earthenware. So it's very delicate. I had to drive all these down to Brooklyn to put in the kiln. And then once they're fired, they're good. But that was
How hard
stressful.
are they when they're fired?
They're pretty hard.
Really? Well, if
Like when you knock on them with your finger, they have like a bing, 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 bing,
No kidding.
Yeah.
And do you treat them with anything when they're done, or is it just raw?
Yeah. Yes, I do. It depends. Some of them come out really beautiful. They turn into sort of an orange, but sometimes there's can be a white, how brick can age and there's like a white. that can happen. And so I did a bunch of research trying to find out what they used to use. And the closest thing I found was, what's it called? It's called Sarah something. It's, I haven't used it in so long. I forget what it's called.
Is it a paint?
It's a paint. Yeah.
You literally paint them.
Yeah. Yeah. This one I did.
Wow. Do you paint it to look like stone or some
To look
random
like the
color?
clay, but some of them I don't. If they come out a nice orange, I don't. The first maybe 6 I painted, and then I stopped doing that because I liked the natural. I found a clay that fired much more beautifully. The first couple were like a fire engine orange. Here, keep going one more, and you'll see her. Okay, well, that's the same thing. I switched her hair, so it was coming down her shoulder. So this is that's right before I'm going to dry it out naturally. And then the next one would be after it's been fired and painted.
Wow. That is seriously beautiful, man.
Thanks. So this is me just trying to figure out, how they used to make these.
Wow.
But you see, you have to dig out the pupil. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. But what I noticed in museum, and I don't think you are doing this here, so that answers my question. It's not necessary. But what I noticed is they'd have just really deep eyelids, like especially on the Rodins.
Oh yeah, he exaggerated. He would exaggerate a lot for drama.
Okay.
He loved to exaggerate anatomy and really push in under the eye sockets and have a big brow. And,
yeah, he would.
Yeah.
It was so cool though.
So here's another example. Halfway through, this is a great model, Fatima. I'm just opening up her head. It feels kind of dark, slicing someone's head open to pull out.
Yeah, no joke.
And then you put it on, and then after that, you just have to let the clay slowly firm up as you finish it, and then hollow out the neck from the back, and then fire it.
And how do you know, like, what about in the nose area and stuff? I mean, you can't possibly get it an inch everywhere.
No, it's not perfect, but it's as close as possible. I'll dig in with a tool so that, it's approximately an inch.
Is there some sort of a caliper type tool that you judge that with, or are you just going off of gut?
No, my hand. I put my hand in the back and feel in the front, and
Okay, so it's
get it to the equivalent.
It's more sort of instinctual.
Yeah.
Okay. That's gorgeous.
And there she is, finished up. Not fired, but last day before I let her dry.
Now, when you were doing this, did you have any idea you'd go off into this crazy stone that you're using now?
No.
Really? No. Yeah, I'm
Not
really
yet, but
curious how
it was
you
in the back of my head. I wanted to learn stone carving, but no.
And so you live in Long Island. Stone carving is, I imagine, incredibly messy.
Yes.
So do you have a designated space?
Yeah, you can't. You also can't. It's difficult. You also can't really mix. You can't do even clay. You don't want to do that in your painting space because you just get so much dust. The clay dries out on the floor, and so you have to have separate. So I've got a little space. It's not heated. It's not air conditioned. So I kind of do my stone carving in the spring and in the fall.
Man, you can't even do clay in a painting space? You can't even do terracotta?
I wouldn't.
Really?
I mean, I could if I have to, but I wouldn't. As you work, there's just so much dust made, and I've got oil. Then it just gets on your palette. It gets in your brushes. When you sweep the floor, it's a mess. You really need a separate space.
Okay.
But that's why it was so useful being at GCA during this postgraduate period, is I was able to keep following through with sculpture and painting at the same time. I'll show you some paintings. I think they're coming up. So this is Anna Nina. She was a great model. We used a bunch.
Oh yeah, I see her all the time.
Yeah.
From students there.
This episode is brought to you in part by Rosemary Brushes. If you're one of my listeners who's a professional artist, you're already using Rosemary Brushes. But for the rest of you, come on. Take your work a little more seriously. Stop buying the other brands. It's just not worth it. Every now and then you may get lucky and buy a good brush from another brand, but use the brand that professionals like myself are using. Go to rosemaryandco.com, link in the description or the show notes, and get yourself some quality brushes before your next painting.
Okay, so we got a few paintings now.
Yeah, so during this time period, I was also, painting during summers and doing still lifes. So this is, I got okay at landscape painting. I went up and did the Hudson River Fellowship. And so this was an example of plein air. I've done
This is in
whole
the Hudson River Valley?
No, this is on Long Island. But I went up there to learn how to plein air paint, and then I kept plein air painting on Long Island,
Gotcha.
which has a bunch of beaches and lakes and things like that. And then here I was looking, I think, at Fontaine-Latour. So these were still lives I would have done while I was at graduate. What do we call? It's called residence. You were GCA resident, means you you graduated and had a space, and we're most likely usually teaching as well. And of course, looking at Katie too.
I was just going to think that.
Yeah, she always had these amazing flowers. I don't think at heart I'm a flower painter, but she always had flowers in the kitchen and at the studio. And so I did probably more flower painting than I would have normally, because they were around. So I think this one, there's an incredible, actually a Monet peony painting in the Musée d'Orsay that I love. And I think this was inspired by that.
Oh, I'm trying to picture. I was just there. I'm trying to imagine.
Isn't that a great museum?
It is. That was my favorite one.
Yeah.
Hands down. I was almost disappointed a little bit in the Louvre, because my whole life I've been told the Louvre, you got to get to the Louvre. But it was so much Renaissance stuff. I'm like, okay, I've had enough. I got to go.
It's hard to find. Well, the problem is it's so massive. So in order to find the really good paintings, you have to wade through an enormous number of,
that's the problem. It's overwhelming.
So artworks. It's incredibly overwhelming.
Yeah.
So what if you're just visiting for a day or two, it's impossible to actually go see. So, it's kind of on your third or fourth visit that you're like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm just going to spend an afternoon with the French 19th century people. Because that's like upstairs in a totally different section. The Ingres and the Chardins, they're really out of the way.
There was French 19th century? I don't even think I saw it.
I'm sorry, Jeff. Yeah, there's a whole wing, and it's unbelievable.
All I saw was Renaissance. I'm like, I can't handle it. It's too much.
Yeah, they put it. I don't know if they're embarrassed about it or what, but they put it all the way upstairs.
Are you serious? That's what I would have wanted to see.
Yeah, the Renaissance stuff is all downstairs, and you end up there because you want to see the Mona Lisa, and it's surrounded by all the Renaissance stuff.
I frankly didn't even care about the Mona Lisa, because I realized it.
No, you can't see it.
You can't even see it. Plus, it's just hyped up because it's the whole story behind it, being stolen and all this. But it's certainly not the best painting ever painted. I would have much rather hang out in the 19th century area.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even know it was there. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, you'll have to go back.
I will. I'll go back someday.
I shared a space with Justin Wood, and he's a great still life painter. So I was also looking at him a little bit.
Yeah, this is beautiful. This is still student period.
No, this is when I was a resident.
Right. Well, okay, yeah. Resident period. But you're still there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow, that one's different. Who are you looking at here?
So this is a Trompe l'oeil painting.
But it's so refined and finished compared to the others.
Well, yes and no. So it's a little bit of a true trompe l'oeil. That's painted on a piece of wood.
Oh, so that's actual wood.
Yeah.
No joke.
Yeah. And it's funny. The guy who bought it, after he bought it, he's sort of a guy I know a little bit. So he when I bumped into him, he said, "I bought your apple painting," and then he looks at me and goes, "You fooled me. I thought that background was painted. I sort of said, well, what's the name of the genre? Trompe l'oeil. It's trick of the eye. So I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, that's something. But even the apples, though, they seem very, very smooth compared to, say, this
A little more painterly.
this a little more
Yeah,
painterly. Yeah.
it's probably more patience than I normally have on that one. But in order for it to be successful, it has to, you got to be
Yeah, you got to compete
tighter.
with a real grain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not successful if you're more painterly.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So what is this trompe l'oeil as well?
Yeah. So that's it's a triptych, drawing, sculpture, and painting. And they're all trompe l'oeils as well. The one on the left is on a copper panel. The one in the middle is on a stone panel, and the one on the right is on a wood panel.
No joke. That's wild. When did you do this?
Same thing. It was my last year when I was a resident, but I think I did this one in my apartment because it was just the setup was too delicate to do at GCA where things are always kind of moving around.
Yeah.
So there's the setup on the left.
That looks like so much fun to paint.
Right, and then it's not oiled out on the right or varnished yet, so it looks a little sunken in. But yeah, they're playful, they're fun.
That's wild. So those little blobs of paint on the top, what's that all about?
Just blobs of paint.
That's part of the painting. That's not like
Yeah.
Okay, because I've seen artists who actually use their painting as the palette.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that.
Okay, have you seen that before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they kind of dry the brush off on the edge of the
Yeah, and they just
canvas
literally
and stuff.
squeeze
Yeah.
paint out right on the canvas, and then eventually they'll scrape it off.
I'm way too anal.
I am too. I'm too much of a clean freak.
Yeah.
No way. So what is this?
So, okay, so I was, thinking back in my head, I really wanted to get into stone carving. I've been talking about it forever. Finally, my wife, Katie, was just like, go do it. And so I did a bunch of research online, and I found, because I had, going back to the beginning to learn something new can be tough, but so I really wanted to get it right. I was like, I need to find someone who really has the technical skill set. And so I found this guy, Steve HEIN. He's got a studio in Brooklyn, and he teaches stone carving in a couple different places. So I drove to, have you heard of Rutland? It's Rutland, Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
You drove all the way to Vermont?
It's yeah.
Jeez.
For a 3-day workshop.
Oh, so you stayed there for a while.
Him.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Rutland is where America has marble in a couple different places: Alabama, Colorado, and then the other is Rutland, Vermont, where big group of Italians actually in the late 19th century came over. These are the guys who did the Lincoln Memorial and all these big public works. So if you're going through Grand Central Station, and these guys were excellent stone carvers, and they all settled around Rutland. There's the name of another town. So anyway, there's a sculpture center up there. If anyone's interested,
Is that
in learning
because
how to
there's a
stone carve.
big vein of granite up there, or marble up there, or what?
Yeah, there's a lot of really good marble, white marble. Not as good as Italian marble, but pretty good. And there's a sculpture center, and they have all sorts of teachers teach stone carving. So I went up and took a 2-day workshop with Steve. Actually, go to the next image.
Okay.
No, never mind. Go back. So this is the previous one is you learn how to stone carve doing these architectural, or in the traditional way. This is an architectural element. So this would have been my first stone carving, or maybe my
What's
second.
the trick to squaring it up like that, to getting that cove? Are you sort of a stone plane of sorts?
No, this is all done by hand.
You're joking.
It starts with a block, and it's all done by hand because
You
corners and flat
chiseled
surfaces-
chiseled that cove.
Yeah.
That's that even.
Yeah.
That's
But
remarkable.
that's the hard. It's it's interesting. The hardest thing to do in stone is a flat plane by hand.
Yeah, no joke.
If you're using a big saw or something, it's the easiest thing. But by hand is the hardest thing, which is why that's how they teach.
So you cut
That's
all these
traditionally how it's
flat
taught.
planes with a chisel.
Yes.
Well,
And then
you must have some sort of an abrasive or something on a block or something.
No. So it's chisels, flat chisels, and then rasps. You use a flat rasp, but
that's remarkable. Do you use a curved rasp in the cove?
Yes, the cove is you have a curved chisel and a curved rasp. Yes,
okay.
So it's not that incredible. It's
still impressive.
It's not easy
though,
to do,
but that makes a little
really
more sense.
Yeah.
Wow, that's remarkable, man. Jeez.
And you use little rasps to get in for all the circles. It's called something egg and dart. The pattern is called an egg and dart. You can see it in all sorts of classical architecture, on ceilings and stuff. So you have smaller rasps for those areas.
So when you're carving in stone, is sharpening a huge part of the process?
Yeah, you sharpen your chisels all the time.
Really? Because I've carved in wood before. I tried to do a head in wood, and I'm embarrassed to admit that I chopped off the ear, threw the head across the room, and never tried it again.
Yeah.
I was so pissed. I got so
far,
and then that ear came right off.
Yep.
Oh man. And
yeah,
but one of the things
very forgiving.
No, one of the things I didn't like about it is all the sharpening. I was like, I love carving. It's so fun, but the sharpening, especially in the gouges and stuff.
I think wood, you have to be a little sharper than stone.
Really?
Than wood, I believe. I've never worked with
I think
wood
that makes sense, because with stone, I would assume the chisels it's more of a
force. It's more force.
Right. Where wood, it's slicing.
Shaving. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. So how much sharpening are you doing? How often are you sharpening in a day?
3 to 4 times a day. You step out, you put all your chisels. It's not that hard. It's probably much easier. You have a little diamond block and you just rub the chisel on the diamond block. It's not that big of a deal.
Oh, okay. I imagine it's a little less tedious then. Huh.
It's much less tedious than I think wood is, but again, I don't know. And I remember I messed up a whole lot of times on this one. You can't really see it, and I went to Steve and I was like, I think there's something wrong with the stone. And he looks at me and goes, no, there's not. It's you. So
what is it? What did you think was wrong with the stone?
Oh, I wanted to blame my mistakes on an inconsistency in the stone, but it's I was learning chisel control, and a bunch of times you go a little bit too far, you can't come back. That's
I know. That's
difficulty
the
of
craziest
stone.
Thing. Yeah.
It's reductive. It's only one direction.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were saying, oh, look, I went a little too far because the stone was too soft right here. And he's like, no, it's because you suck at sculpting.
Yes.
That's classic.
I had my ass handed to me as I needed to. That's part of the learning process.
That's too funny. Well, from my perspective, it looks pretty impressive.
Well, thanks. Go to the next one. Yeah. So, and then I copied a hand through a pointing process. I borrowed that, or I made a copy of a hand over at GCA, and I brought it into Steve's studio, and he taught me how to point that. So it's just the copying, it's a 1-to-1 copying, and I'll show you what.
And that's that process that they used anytime you blow something up, right? Like, didn't they use the pointing? Oh my gosh, I'm such a moron. On the mountain with all the presidents.
Oh, I don't know how he did that.
Well, explain to me remind me what the name of that is now. Oh my gosh.
The pointing process?
No, the mountain.
No, how? Oh, Rushmore.
Rushmore, thank you. Oh my gosh,
I don't know how he did that.
What is pointing? Isn't that where you sort of drill to a certain depth?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they did. I'm pretty sure they did do that on that mountain.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's see. So you have pictures of that?
Mm-hmm.
Not
so
here,
this is the next one. I think this one is Ennis. So
okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to do 2 versions of him. That's a terracotta that I did at GCA, and I was very precious with it. And now that I turn them into stone, I'm really not precious with the terracottas anymore. So I set him up on this sort of square, wood panel. And I'm going to do 2 versions of him. And the reason I did 2 is because I was sure that I was going to mess one up. I'd never done a portrait before. So I thought if I do 2 at once, that gives me the leeway to, accidentally knock an ear off one, but still have another. So
is this one, before you point, do you fire them, or do you point from just soft clay?
This is fired. They're all fired.
Okay.
Yeah. If they're
but is
soft
that common
clay,
practice, or could one point from soft clay?
I wouldn't. That would be way too dangerous.
Okay.
Pointing is usually done from plaster.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. The next image will show you. The Italians call it a macchina. It's a pointing machine. So I built that sort of wood. I don't know what they call it. I forget. But it's just 4 pieces of plywood. And then the pointing machine has, those little arms. So it's tough to describe, but you set up all the little mechanics, and then there's the pin, and you push the pin so that it touches a point, say on the nose. See how there's a white dot on the nose? And you set that pin, the little latch on the pin, you pull it back, and then you transfer the whole thing over onto the stone, and then you remove stone until that pin is in the same place. So it's essentially just making measurements in 3 dimensions.
Okay. So just to make sure I understand. So you set the pin, you set the distance, you've got it clamped to the frame.
Yes.
And then you've got an exact duplicate of the frame around the stone.
No, I moved the whole frame over to the stone. Do you see how the
But
top
you must
of the
have
frame...
something on the stone that makes sure the frame goes in the same place.
It's in the same place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the frame won't fit until you get the stone deep enough, because the point won't set.
No, the frame can be set from the very beginning, right? And you remove stone just until the pin reaches
but how do you do
measuring
that?
point.
Before the stone is chiseled back, the pin won't fit. It won't.
So the frame can go easily from the terracotta to the block of stone, right? And it's set up in the exact same location over the terracotta as it's set up over the block of stone. The pin is the thing on the right. Do you see that's pointing?
No, I
towards his
understand. I
nose?
guess I'm not explaining myself very well. So what I'm saying is, if you have let's say the stone is protrudes an inch from the distance you want it to be. It comes forward an inch, right? You need to take an inch back. So you move that frame over, the frame won't sit in the correct position because the pin is back an inch.
No, the pin goes forward and back. So you move the pin way back, and then you remove stone until the pin reaches the point that it originally. Yeah, the pin moves.
But how do you know it's locked into the right position? Is there some?
There's a little key. Do you see on the right where the pin goes back and forth? There's a little notch that measures how deep that
little
pin goes in and
knob.
out.
That little knob.
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. That is cool. So you just slide that thing back, take a little off, slide it forward, and as soon as that piece of brass with the knob on it touches the other piece of brass, you're good to go.
That's where it is. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thanks for being patient with me.
Sure. No, it's not obvious, of course.
Yeah. Okay. That is too cool. And you do that in how many spots? I suppose you could just be completely obsessive compulsive about it.
Yes, you can.
Based on your smirk, it sounds like you've been there.
Yeah. Some I've done fewer and some I've done more. And, you just need all the major points, and then you can use your eye after that. Here, go to the next one.
Holy crap, man.
There it is after a bunch of measured points. The little black dots are exactly where the pin, where the sculpture needs to be carved to.
Dude, I kid you not, when I pulled this image up, I felt my heart drop, like anxiety set in. Because now comes the hard part. I'd like to introduce you to one of this podcast's valued sponsors, Artifacts. Wrong side. Artifacts. Artifacts. They are amazing. Let me tell you about them. Well, first of all, let me tell you what you shouldn't be doing. So do you guys remember in art school when your teacher told you to just go buy some masonite from the local big box home improvement store, paint it up with some acrylic paint and paint on it? You know, that might have been okay for art school, but at some point you're going to paint a good painting if you haven't already. And I know there are professionals still doing this. So listen to what I'm saying to you. Stop. Stop. Have some self-respect. This stuff, this masonite stuff, is not going to last. Not long. Not long enough. If you got a masterpiece on this thing, what a freaking shame. And even if you stretch canvas on it, look at this. Okay, look at this. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, but that's Jeff. He's huge. But I didn't even work out today. And that was nothing. Nothing. So don't do it. Don't paint on that masonite stuff. And then you're thinking, well, I'll upgrade. I'll go to the art supply store and I'll buy some of this stuff, some of this cardboard wrapped in canvas. Are you serious? Seriously, you're going to paint on cardboard wrapped in canvas? Yeah, that's going to last. Okay, Artifacts is the way to go. This stuff is unbelievable. It is plastic sandwiched between 2 layers of aluminum, and then it has this incredible linen surface glued to the front with this, I guess it's like some kind of glue that is some sort of industry secret for Artifacts. Anyway, pretty amazing stuff. A lot of artists I know are using this stuff. It's high quality. It'll last you a lifetime. It'll last many lifetimes. So for your next painting, take yourself a little more seriously. Go to artefex.biz and get yourself some serious substrates to paint on. That's ARTEFEX.biz. I'm coming back to that feeling I had when I chopped off the ear. You've come so far.
Yeah.
One wrong move now.
Yeah.
And you've ruined it.
Uh-huh.
That's why, dude, that's why I have so much respect for you stone carvers, man. It's like, I think it might be the hardest art form.
I disagree, but here's why. It's just, in a way it is, but it's just careful work. The hard part is sculpting the portrait in clay.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You serious?
I'm dead serious. The stone carving, it's just careful work. It's not easy. If you're very careful, you're successful. If you're not careful, the whole thing goes
really. So the clay
sideways.
part's harder.
I would say. I mean, someone else might disagree, but I would say overall, it's more I had a harder time learning how to sculpt. I had a harder time learning how to paint. The hardest thing that I've done at all is painting the figure. Stone carving, it's just a technical process. And if you're not mindful, it doesn't go well. So it's not for everyone, but if you're able to do careful, it's kind of OCD. I mean, I shouldn't use the word OCD, but very if you're thoughtful and careful.
No shortcuts. You just gotta go through all the steps.
Exactly.
Gotcha. I am so tempted to try this.
Go to the next one. It's fun. You feel like a kid again. It's
I bet. And it's so beautiful. There's something about stone over clay.
It's the best material. It's out of anything. So the pointing's done, and now I'm using rasps and Dremels, and there's all sorts of tools for more detailed work. So you see the face is moving from the chisel marks. I'm kind of removing the chisel marks and slowly moving in on those little points.
So this sort of hatching looking stuff, that's chisel marks?
Yeah.
So the chisel is sort of a comb shape?
You can use any kind of chisel, but the ones that have most control and the ones that I like are they're a flat blade with teeth.
Okay.
So.
And then with the rasp, you take that down.
Yes.
Man, that's so cool. I am seriously itching to try this someday.
This is a piece of Persian travertine, so you'll see what it actually looks like in a minute. So it's a soft. This is a tough to work in. It's a soft stone and it's porous, so there's holes in it. So you got to be very careful when you're using your chisel because you hit a hole, chisel goes in.
I was going to ask you that, and then you bust off something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know if that'll play or not. You don't have to, but it's just a quick video of me. Forget it.
No, it won't
Go to
play.
the next one. Yeah.
Let's bring it back. Where were we?
Right. One more.
Yeah. God, I remember seeing this on social media and was just floored, man. I mean, it is
Thanks.
so cool. This guy's, it helps when you got, not to not to take credit from you, but it helps when you got a dude who looks like that. Like, what a
Yeah.
face, man.
And one of the reasons I did this one as my first one is I didn't have to deal with hair.
Oh, interesting.
I needed something simpler. I needed the simplest head for my first
This
go
was your
at it
first one.
at a portrait. Yeah.
You must have been so excited when you finished it.
It turned out nicely. The little hole on the lip was little chef's kiss from Mother Nature for me.
Heck yeah, dude. Did
Yeah.
you just feel like, oh my gosh, I can do this? I've got a whole
Yeah.
world just opened up to me.
And going into it, I had no idea. I was like, this is something because Steve Shaheen, who I learned with, he doesn't do portraits. He does a bunch. He's a brilliant guy. He does a bunch of different types of stone carving, but not portraits. So I was really wading in the dark. You know, I knew hypothetically the method I had to use, but I was like, this might not work out.
Wow. I can just imagine how excited you must have been. I would have been on cloud nine.
Yeah, it was fun. So this is another example. So this guy was a GCA model. So I did the portrait. That's fired terracotta again. So you can go to the next one. And so the key that I didn't really do on the first one, I got lucky, the first one worked out. But what you want to do, the best way to do it is you almost finish the face first, because if you mess up, then you can move the whole thing back. If you don't finish the back of the head, see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I there's enough space that if I mess up an eyebrow, a lip.
Yeah, but you can't move. But you can't move the ear back, so you got to leave the ears till later too.
You can move the ear back if you only get the high points in the front.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
The moment you do anything from the back, you can't move the head back.
Right.
So there is a way to do it so that if you mess up, you can start over. But that's a huge pain in the butt.
Have you had that happen yet?
I've never had to start the whole thing over, but I have. One time was a total. I busted off. The whole thing was finished. Actually, I'll show it to you. But yes, I have messed up, but I've managed to work it out.
Really? So one question is these dots. Obviously, they mark the depths.
Yes.
Is it important to keep those there because those are the points you can't carve any deeper?
Yes.
Okay. And then at some point when in the finishing stage is when they come off.
Yes.
Okay.
And you measure the high points so that generally the areas around the points you've measured are lower points.
Right. Right. Wow.
So
Look at all that stone you've got to remove. Holy crap,
it's a
dude.
lot of work. I use a pneumatic hammer, which saves me a lot of time.
Dang, you are throwing up a lot of dust.
Yeah, it's messy.
I keep saying that because that's the thing holding me back. I don't have a room for this, and I'm like,
do it outside.
How
do it
can
outside.
Do it outside.
Do it outside. That's what most stone carvers do, it outside, or have some kind of especially in Carrara, they have some kind of awning, so it's covered. If it rains, they can still work. But generally, it's so dusty, you do it in these semi-outdoor spaces.
Okay.
And then it doesn't matter if it gets rained on. You just don't work that day.
That's a good point. I could even work on my roof.
Do it
Getting
outside.
ideas.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's a little further.
Wow. Have you done one of these yet where the hole doesn't land where you want it to land and you're like, ugh?
Yeah, there's some that are a little less successful than others. This guy, interesting. So when you work with, this is again Persian travertine, when you work with stones that have, so Carrara is like the gold standard. It has a crystallization that's perfect. The material is predictable. It carves like butter, and I don't mean soft. It's just like there's like
You know
some
what it's
butters
going to
maybe.
do. Every
Yeah, you
every
just have
cut. Yeah.
the whole thing is consistent. And then when you work with more unusual things, there's a lot more unpredictable things that happen. One of these, so travertine is it's from riverbeds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very layered, and every once in a while there's just, it's not, so the head popped off on this one.
Is that
do you
what that
see
crack is?
Do you see that line? Yeah.
Yeah.
As I carved in, that was a weak, very, very weak kind of powdery layer, and the whole head popped off. So with translucent stones, you can't fix them because the glue is not a crystal. You know,
Right.
you can't glue them back together or else it'll show. But with less transparent, more opaque stones, the layer of glue can be very similar. You can dye the glue so that it's very similar to the color of the stone.
Using epoxy?
Epoxy, colored epoxy. So the head popped off on this. So I was like, okay, this might be done. I don't know. So I got a colored epoxy and I put a layer and I put the head back on and it worked out great. You can't, this is very, very common with stones like this. You can't see the layer because it's just red. It looks like the rest of the stone.
Do you mix powders into the epoxy to get the exact color?
I've done that, but then the glue doesn't work as well.
So how do you get it tinted then?
I look at the stone, you know, put water on the stone or another piece of stone, and you know, if I wet this down, you see the color, and so I got a pretty close reddish hue. I'll show you in the end.
Okay.
I think you can see it. There. All right, it's on his neck. It's just a little more red.
Right there, that's the epoxy?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never would have thought that that was epoxy.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, but just to be clear, I'm not sure. Again, I asked the question very clearly. How are you changing the color of the epoxy? Are you mixing powders into the epoxy?
No, there's tinting. You can buy epoxies that are meant to be tinted.
But what are you tinting it with?
There's dyes.
Oh, you're using dye, not powder.
Yeah. Yeah, dyes.
Okay, okay. Because I use epoxy all the time and I tint it with powder, and I was just wondering if that's what you're doing. But you're using an actual liquid dye.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think I might have mixed in some of the actual stone powder from the stone with it. But I kind of discovered that the more powder you put in, the less strength the epoxy has.
Right, right. God, that's so great. And that's such a nice thing to discover, that you can fix it like that.
Yeah.
That opens up some doors too. Or at least probably relieves some stress. You know, you're just like,
yeah,
anything can be fixed if you're at least working in this sort of stone.
Not quite anything, but some things.
Yeah.
And this, luckily, I was able to fix.
So this is an opaque stone then?
Yeah, it's not very translucent. It's beautiful in person, though. It has all this, like, I wish I had better images. You know, you're not going to be able to see it up close. You know, it's one of those things, especially sculpture needs to be seen in person. But it has all of this, like, really nice, intricate texture on the face that almost replicates skin in a way. I should have sent you a nice close-up. I don't. But
you know, it's got these veins in it that it's like perfect one to crack, because this epoxy just looks like another kind of mineral in there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
the busier if the stone is very busy and it's not a translucent, you can glue things back. So here's a last one. I did her right before, this was the last thing I made at GCA. It's right before we moved out to Long Island. She was an actress. She was a great model. I haven't made a terracotta since. She's sort of the last one. And then if you go to the next one, I turned her. So this is a piece of Norwegian rose. It's hard to get. For any stone carvers out there who want to look for stone, there's a wonderful guy. His name is Miles, and he has a company called 2 Sculpt. That's the number 2 Sculpt. He's out in the Midwest, and he provides artists with stone. So if anyone,
What
but
about shipping for stone? That's got to be a fortune.
yeah, it's can be about half of the price of the stone. Sometimes it's crazy.
Wow.
But one note, I would love for people to reach out to Miles. He's wonderful if you want to do stone carvings, but you have to, he doesn't really ship unless it's like 1,000 pounds of stone. So you can't call him and say, hey,
1,000 pounds.
Yeah, about.
Jeez Louise, what do you do when you get it? You have to cut it into pieces?
So I have him, the most I can manage is like a 300 to 400 pound block. You know, I get help moving them around, but that's about what I can manage in my space. I don't have,
so he'll send you,
lifts.
He'll send you 4 of those.
Yes. So I have him send a couple 3 to 4 blocks of about 300 pounds each. And that's kind of the minimum order that he'll do. Cause you know, he's a purveyor. It's kind of a little bit of a waste of his time if you ask him for, you know, 6-inch by 6-inch piece of stuff. You know, it doesn't quite work. But anyway,
so can I ask what that generally costs to get a load of stone like that?
So it depends. Some stones are pricier than other stones, but generally they go for $1 to $2 per pound.
Oh, but then another 50% for shipping.
Yes.
So you're looking at $1,500 to $3,000.
Yes.
Wow. And then what about, okay, so if I ask anything you don't want to answer, just say so, no big deal. But one of the things that concerns me about stone carving is it's one-off. Like you got to sell this thing. You can sell 30 bronzes, but you've only got one stone.
Yeah. So what I've been doing is, because the pointing process is so tedious, as you can see, the number of measurements, and I love doing it. My happiest days, honestly, are the days like Katie will tell you I'm happiest when I come home after a day of stone carving. So I just love doing it, right?
Yeah.
But because the pointing process is so tedious, I actually make 2 or 3 copies at one time. So I'll set up the terracotta and then I'll make 2 or 3 versions. I'll, do the measurement on one, move it over to the next, do the same thing, do the third, in different stones.
Okay, so you at least have a set of 3, but technically they're all originals. They're not copies.
Yes. Yeah.
Man. Okay. One last question. Not one last, but regarding this photo.
Anything.
Regarding this photo. Are you using a drill to get these depths or just a chisel?
Dremel. The Dremel, there you can buy. If you're really interested in stone carving, I can send you a whole tools list and everything.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah.
Do a separate call and I'll tell you what to get. So you can buy on like Amazon. They have it's called electroplated. They're synthetic diamonds that are glued onto little Dremel bits.
Okay.
And so some of them are round, some of them are pointed. So I get the chisel all the way down to almost there, and then the last little couple millimeters, I'll put one of these synthetic diamond Dremel bits in, and it removes just a millimeter or 2, and then I mark it.
And then you work down to the mark.
And then I work down to the mark
with a chisel.
Actually, the more detailed work, I'm now using Dremel bits more than chisels on detailed work.
Do you have any sort of dust collection system around?
No, I need it. Someday I hope to have a proper stone carving studio where there would be a dust collection. It just goes on the floor and I sweep it up.
But you must be wearing some sort of respirator, though.
I have a jumpsuit and a respirator. I need to be better about the respirator, but doing it outdoors is really the ideal. I just have this little indoor space. It's kind of like a shed type thing. It's got glass, so the light is great. But yeah, there's a lot of dust.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my god.
So there she is, almost done, getting towards the final stages.
Look at that great stripe.
I know. I got lucky again with this one.
Wow. So the
Go to
pink
next.
stone versus the white stone, are you dealing with different
good question.
hardnesses?
You're a really intuitive interviewer.
Well, I do a lot of crafts and things.
Yeah, this one was extraordinarily hard to make, and the reason is because the red stone, and you can't see it, but even the green stone was extraordinarily hard. I mean, like,
oh, dude, that would be brutal
granite.
around the forehead when you're dealing with two hardnesses like that.
And then the white was very soft. So this one, it was. I broke so many tools on the red parts, and I had to be so careful moving into the white parts.
Oh my gosh, dude, that looks tedious.
But it's fun.
How that
the thing is, it's not. It's yes, the work is tedious, but it's so fun that I.
Oh, I bet it is. I'm like seriously drooling.
Oh, it's so fun, and the materials is so beautiful.
So you must have had to really use a rasp a lot on this in order to keep the plane flat as you move across.
Yeah.
Huh. God,
and they have tools that are diamond. So there's the final
diamond rasps. Are you going to say they have diamond?
Yeah,
they
do. They have diamond rasps, which are also really useful.
My gosh, that's amazing. So what do you polish it with something to get it to look like that?
At the end, after the diamond rasps, you use silicon carbide sandpaper.
Okay.
And then as you get finer with the sandpaper, you start to use water. And then at the very end, you do an acid wash to get rid of all of the little dust grains that are kind of.
What kind of acid?
Muriatic. Because so you douse it with water. You can take a hose and spray everything off, but you're still not going to get that final little dust that's like in the red sections. The way that you burn them with muriatic acid.
So the acid dissolves the dust.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, doesn't it damage the surface as well?
No, because it's such a light amount. It's really only burning the surface, and then you pour water on it to stop it from
relatively quickly, or
yeah.
Okay.
You use a small. Each piece is a little different, but yeah, I don't know what the proportion I use is, but it's just like a couple drops of muriatic acid, and then
in water
that goes on, and then in a lot of water, and then I hose it off immediately. So it's not going to damage; it's just going to burn that little layer of dust that's keeping the. So it's interesting. Doing a stone carving on white is in white stone or any light stone is actually easier because there's a whole lot of little scratches and marks that you can't see. But then when it's a colored stone, you can see all of those little scratches and marks because they're white.
Right, the dust settles in them. Yeah,
so actually Carrara stone carvings are covered in little dust and scratches, but you can't see them. But if you work especially with like a black stone, it's twice as much finishing work because you need to polish out every single little scratch and scrape because there's minuscule amounts of white dust in those scratches.
So what grit do you polish up to?
I think 400.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
After that, it doesn't really.
I thought you were going to tell me like 2,000 or something.
It's not. No, it's not. The sandpaper, it's too fine to have an effect on the stone in a way.
Right. The stone being somewhat porous is probably never going to go mirror finish.
It actually can look worse with a mirror finish.
Really? Because all the pores are so obvious at that point?
It's tough to describe. It starts to look waxy.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which is how this is kind of an interesting thing that Steve taught me. So back in the day, if you didn't want to properly finish a stone carving, if you were going to, shice the client a little bit and didn't want to do the, last difficult layers, you put wax on the stone carving and the wax will fill in all those little scratches. And that's where the word sincere comes from. The word sincere in Italian means without wax, senza cere.
No way.
So
really?
When you say, it's so fun, when you sign a letter sincerely, what you're actually saying is without wax, Jeff HEIN.
No kidding.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
That's wild.
So it's
One
authentically
without
made.
wax is honest. It's the real deal.
It's honest. It's the real thing. Yeah.
How about that? Wow. What is this just like?
That's the stone. It has this crystal. That's why you got to see these in person. And I should have sent you
I want to
more.
see them in person so bad.
They're remarkable when they catch the light. All the little crystals glimmer and shine, and it has this variation in between the red and the green and the white.
Where do you sell these? You have a gallery that represents you?
No, so I need to figure that out. I've sold a couple just through collectors and clients. I haven't made a big effort, but I need to find a substantial gallery.
Dude, I want to buy one. I don't think I
these.
can afford it, but I would kill for one of these. They're so great. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, you got it. I got to see this in person.
They're pretty. The material is just so beautiful.
I didn't think it was so crystalline.
It's amazing.
Look at that dark stone. It's just all crystals. Dude, that's wild. Does this have a lot of quartz in it or something? Is that what that is?
I don't know. It's Norwegian rose, and it's hard to find because it became very popular with designers, and it comes from obviously Norway, and it's hard for them to get out. There's not much of it. It's hard for them to get out of the earth. I haven't been able to. Miles, who I got this from, I don't think he has any. I think I got his last block.
That's another thing that's so great about this medium, because not only did a sculpture make a beautiful piece of art, but the stone itself has value.
Yeah.
Because if you can't get another piece of stone like this,
I could. If I really wanted one, I could probably go figure it out. But it's hard to get.
That's amazing.
The material is so beautiful, and that's why I use these different types of stone. It's just they're just so gorgeous.
Yeah, that's so great.
So here's another one. This actually comes from Utah. You're in Utah, right?
Yeah, Salt Lake.
This comes from Utah.
No kidding. What is it?
Yeah, so it's called. It's a silly name for it. It's called Picasso marble. You'll see it doesn't look anything like a Picasso painting, but it's a marketing thing, and it looks semi-abstract. He was never anyway. So it's a little more unpredictable because it breaks apart in large pieces. So this is a boulder that I had. He sent me, and you see on the right side how it gets very close to her head.
Yeah.
That used to fill out so that it was symmetrical.
You actually broke it off?
A whole thing broke off, and luckily it broke off just to not in her head.
Oh, I like the asymmetry though. Kind of happy accident. It
worked out. It was a happy accident.
Yeah. Now, how far along are you in this? There's obviously a lot of dust on it still.
Good in the next one.
Oh,
that's
my
the final one.
Gosh, dude. Yeah. That is freaking cool. The finishing process must be so exciting.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, because, one of the things about painting that's so frustrating for me, especially the way I paint, because I paint so big. And so I'll work on a painting for a year. And then the final day of the painting, it's looked basically the same for a month. And it's just little details. And the final day, I'll put in the last stroke. I'll put on the last stroke and I'm like, I guess I'm done.
Yeah. Am I done? I don't know.
I'll go to lunch now, I guess. And it's been a year. But with this, you get that climax. You're like, I still don't even know what it's going to look like.
Right at the end, I tell you, right at the end.
God, that sounds amazing.
You spray it down with water, and it's almost there, and then you get acid on it, and
it must be amazing.
It's fun.
Holy cow!
But it's a lot of work to get there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started doing these unfinished portraits in sort of blocks and boulders because now there's technology, there's milling technology, such that I could 3D scan one of my sculptures, or I could even 3D scan a head and upload it, and then have a machine mill it.
Okay.
So I made a couple in the round, fully finished in the round, but I kind of stopped doing that because they could now be made by machines. So I want to separate myself because I'm doing handmade. You know, I have nothing against working with machines, and I might at some point. But because I'm, you know, doing this very, very tedious, careful process, I need to distinguish my work from the things that are being milled.
Does that worry you, that technology?
Yeah, enormously. There's going, you know, my little prediction here is there's about to be a major boom in, it's currently happening in stone manufacturing because they've now created the technology to have these like 10-axis mechanical arms be able to mill anything that you can put into the computer program that they have.
Yeah.
And it can be any size, you can scale anything, it can be in any stone, and these machines work through the night, and they're becoming less expensive. I actually looked into one. I mean, I can't afford it, but you know, they're becoming less expensive. They're popping up all over the place. There's a few here in Long Island and around New York. And they're mainly used by designers, but they're starting to be used by artists too. Well, no, in the high-end contemporary art, almost anything that's made in stone that's representational is milled. Yeah.
So can one of these essentially CNC machines, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
can one of them, why couldn't one of them do this if it's got 10 axis?
It can't do this because they need to work in the round. I mean, maybe that won't be true forever, but it can't make an unfinished portrait. It can a little bit, but not like this, not yet, because the arm can't get to the other side of that face.
Plus, it doesn't know how to respond to the
not where
natural
to fit
elements.
Yeah, exactly. And it also doesn't know where to stop and where not to. That's the human, my own decision making for how much of the neck to finish. Do I put in the ear? How did it break off? You know, things like that.
God, I'm going to have a podcast where we talk about this kind of stuff. I want to invite a few people, and I think I'll probably invite you if you'd be interested, because you'd be definitely one to be part of this conversation. But just this whole idea of AI and other technologies that are potentially a threat to fine art, it'd be an interesting conversation, because I know a lot of artists all have different perspectives on it. Some people are using it, some people hate it. But yeah, I would think for a sculptor more than a painter at this point, it seems a little closer to a threat.
I think it really has the potential to completely obliterate the handmade stone carved object.
Yeah.
Unless there's the rare person that goes out of their way, because someone could mill something and it gets so close. It used to be that there were little ridges and you had to hand finish. You still kind of have to do that, but now it's getting so close that it's almost indistinguishable. I could make a totally handmade finished one, and then I could upload it and have a milled finished one, and I don't know that you could be able to tell the difference if I did a little bit of the finishing. It's almost an existential threat. For painting, it's a little different, but for stone carvers,
yeah,
no bueno.
God, that makes me sick inside. I got into it with this guy on Instagram at one point who owns one of these companies, and I just made a comment, like, I can't even remember what I said, but some comment he didn't like. It wasn't like a trolling comment. It was just something like, so much for fine art or something like that. And it turned into a debate. I finally just checked out. I'm like, I'm not going to have this conversation anymore, but it just breaks my heart, man. But I'm one of those people, and I hope I'm not rare. I hope I'm not, that values the thing made by a person.
Yeah.
And would be willing to pay more because a person made it instead of a machine. I hope I'm not the only one.
Is it just me, or the rest of you guys also get weirdly excited when you order new paint? Because I don't know about you, but when I get paint in the mail, it feels like Santa just dropped my Christmas presents off at my doorstep. With Vasari Paint, my paint of choice and the podcast sponsor, it's even more exciting. And let me show you why. Because when Vasari shows up, it comes in this incredible box where each tube lays in this little compartment perfectly formed around the tube in this nice soft foam. And it's surrounded by velvet, red velvet. Now you got to ask yourself, if a paint comes so carefully protected and surrounded by red velvet, you got to wonder if this paint is worthy of royalty. It is. Vasari is. So if you haven't tried Vasari, you're seriously missing out. And the thing about Vasari, it's not only the best paint out there, it's also made by an incredible company that's been around for 30 years and knows its customer by name. Do yourself a favor, go to vasaricolors.com and order yourself some for your next painting.
But
yeah, I hope so too. When I look at things made by machines, some of them are beautiful. They can be beautiful. They can be impressive. They can be all sorts of things. But I don't respond the same way I respond to a Bernini or a Michelangelo or a Carpeau, or I don't. It doesn't pull on my heart. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. Well, shoot. Now I'm really depressed. All right, let's move on.
That's what you have to do as an artist.
I'm not a true creative unless I'm miserable and tortured inside.
Yeah, agreed. I'll second that motion.
Oh, yeah, and this is great. So what kind of stone is this?
This is also from Utah. Utah
Really?
provides two of the best or most interesting. This is called honeycomb calcite. And I love it because they come in these small boulders. So it's white all around, and then when you carve in, it's kind of orange. It has like this cream quality of a creamsicle or something. So this is just halfway through. You can see I have another one in the background.
The black
that
one?
I'm doing, in Picasso marble.
Wow.
And go to the next one.
What in the heck? That's bizarre.
Yeah, so it's very translucent.
Yeah, the features just
And
sort
yellow.
of disappear.
Yeah. If it's too translucent, you lose the form.
But you had the form in the other angle. That's what's kind of cool
That's
about
because
it.
it's dusty. It's dusty. Yeah.
So what do you do about that?
Well, you can see in person, you can see the form better. Go to the next one.
Okay.
It's the same angle, which I shouldn't have done. But so if you were to, this lighting makes it, unfortunately, that you can't really see that eyelid. But
I get it. In person, it'd be
person,
different.
if you're moving around it, you can see it much better. This is the hard part about talking about sculpture on a 2D image.
Yeah. Yeah, because as you're moving, the light is constantly changing and sort of, describing the form. Huh.
So this is Italian travertine, and this is the one where I had gotten this far, and I was using a pneumatic hammer with a chisel to get more out of the sort of hair or the edge of the block. And I was like, Brendan, be careful. You come this far, don't mess it up. And stupidly, because the pneumatic hammer kind of shakes like this, and I popped off his eyelid. And so luckily I was able to kind of move the face back
Oh, so this is the fixed version.
Yes, this is the fixed version where I kind of moved the face back.
Wow. So when you're using a pneumatic hammer, how are you holding the stone down?
The stone is heavy enough that it generally stays, but I use mastic and wood blocks to keep it in place.
Okay. Wow. Wait, is this the same one?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so interesting. As a portrait painter, I notice this all the time. But people look often so surprisingly different when you change their position.
And the lighting too.
Yeah, well, from the front, you get an impression of someone, and then you see their profile, and you're like, whoa, who's that? You know? And that's what I felt when I saw this guy from the front. He looks totally different.
Yeah, this, and with the porousness, it has an interesting kind of little sense of mortality.
Yeah, Man, look at that chunk out of the cheek.
Yeah,
Is that dust in there or a different color stone?
that's a slightly different colored stone,
It's like you could
but it's
peel off a
probably also
layer.
dust. It's probably also dust.
Wow. That's wild. All right.
And then I've
Talk a little. Oh, this is painting on stone. What
Yeah.
the heck? That's
this is
wild.
a portrait I did of my sister, and it's on a piece of honeycomb onyx.
How about that? That is too cool.
And it's fun. It's because it's such a cool material. The only downside is you can't really work your edges in the way that you'd normally be able to.
Yeah. I think you did a pretty good job of not having it look like a sticker, though.
Yeah, softer edges on the hair.
That is really cool. So do you need to, I guess oil paint sticks okay to stone?
So each stone is a little different, but oil adheres beautifully to pretty much every kind of stone. If anything, stone is usually a little too absorbent. Most of the stones I painted on, where the first layer really gets sucked into it. And, you know, stone is actually the oldest medium for painting.
It is?
The cave paintings.
Oh, duh. That's true.
Right?
And they
Yeah.
sure lived a long time or lasted a long time. That's
And
true.
they did stone paintings on stone all over the world, but in Europe up through the Renaissance, before linen was invented, it's not very practical. But yeah, they painted on stone panels in the Italian Renaissance and also in France.
No kidding. I didn't know that. So you would have to do a good, solid preliminary drawing on
Yeah.
paper, I would assume,
Yes.
and then transfer it.
Yes.
Because does oil paint stain the stone if you were to kind of bleed out into?
It can. If you paint on this is something I've done a lot of testing with, but yeah, a white Carrara, the oil will get sucked in and you'll get a yellowish hue, sometimes almost 5 centimeters into outside of the paintbrush stroke.
Oh, so even if
so-
you do a preparatory drawing, you're still screwed. It'll still bleed.
So this stone, no.
Oh, okay.
It's not, the crystallization is a little larger, but with a Carrara, I haven't really done any oil paintings on Carrara because, well, no, I have. That's not true. I've been testing different types of ways of prepping the stone so that the paint will adhere but not bleed into it. Using like shellac and things like that. So this
okay.
one was just natural. I didn't prep it with anything, and it adhered beautifully.
It's I got to be honest with you. I'm surprised how much I like it. When you said that you're doing that, I'm like, wonder how that's gonna look. I really like it. It's really
Thanks.
cool.
Go to the next one. So I did this of my
Oh,
son.
I saw this online, and I didn't realize you were painting on stone.
Yeah, so that's on a piece of Namibian sodalite.
That is too cool. Wow. Cute little guy. You just have the one
thanks.
son, or?
No, we have a little girl, an 8-month-old girl who's
Oh,
actually,
congrats.
Katie is over in England teaching a workshop at Rosemary.
Oh, I just left there. Yeah.
Yeah, she's with our daughter and Libby Whipple, her mom, and they're over there right now.
She with Rosemary or with Simi?
Simi.
Oh, okay.
She's teaching at what is the name of the
workshops in Yorkshire.
Yes, that's it.
Gotcha. This is gorgeous, man. Man, no limit to your talent.
Oh, thanks. I think I have a close up. Yeah.
So I assume you prefer, because of the way you describe you're happiest when you're carving stone, that is your preferred medium, stone carving, over anything else.
I love them all. Painting for me is the hardest. But right now I'm back to doing paintings on panels, on stone panels. I'll get back to stone carving eventually, but I felt as though my stone carvings had reached this point where they were kind of interesting and I was getting satisfied with them. And now I kind of want my paintings to catch up with that.
Right.
So this is a big piece. This is a big piece of Italian travertine. And I did all these studies of a magnolia tree that Katie planted in the yard. And over the course of 3 years, I did all those from life. I would cut them off the tree and each spring paint them as many as I could. And then here I'm putting, there's a drawing. I traced each one, transferred it onto the panel. It's a 5 feet by 8 feet.
What does that thing weigh?
Well, it's thin cut. So it's actually a flexible stone.
What?
And it has a dye bond. It's dye bond backing. Yeah.
No
it's
way.
crazy.
Really?
I can push on it and it's flexible.
What? I've
Yeah,
never
it's
heard
wild.
of such a thing.
It's not that thick. It's only 5 centimeters thick or so.
5 centimeters. Wow.
Sorry, all the measurements for stone are in millimeters.
So 5 centimeters,
so
a fifth of an inch, basically.
Yeah. A little more than yeah, it's like a quarter of an inch, something like that.
Yeah.
Or a little less. Sorry, a little less. You're right.
Yeah. Man, that's so yeah.
Go
And
to
it's
the next one.
flexible at that much?
A
That's
little
crazy.
bit, not really, but enough to be cut thin without cracking.
That's wild. So what does it weigh? Like 20 pounds, something?
I can't. No. It's 5 feet by 8 feet, so it weighs over a couple hundred, maybe. 175 pounds, maybe.
Holy crap! How does your easel even hold that? That looks like a standard easel.
I know. I got an easel with a winch.
Oh my gosh, man! That's like you standing on that easel. That's crazy. I didn't know those easels
Go to
could
the
hold
next
that
one.
weight.
You'll be able to see the scale in a second, I think. So there's another progress.
Man, that's gonna look so beautiful. Man, you are gutsy to be painting flowers in the same house as Katie.
I know. It's not easy.
I
Go to the
think you're
next one.
doing good though, man. You're doing good
thank you.
hanging with her. That's incredible.
So there's finished.
Oh, it's her.
Yeah.
That's great.
And it's tough to see, but it has this beautiful sort of cream striation to it.
Man,
Sorry
that's-
if the image quality is bad.
I love it. That's great. Oh, that's so cool that it's her. Katie Whipple.
Japanese influence.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that's beautiful. And how are you going to hang it at 180 pounds?
I got a metal worker to make a metal frame for it. It's just sitting on cinder blocks in my studio here. But it has a metal frame, and so it can be hung on the wall.
Okay. Yeah. Jeez. That's awesome. Wow.
So this one's more recent. It's done on a piece of thin cut it's called Spanish Emperador.
Man, you're really onto something here.
Yeah, and I've gotten into gilding recently. I love gilding.
Is that what her jewelry is made
Yeah.
of? Gilding?
And a little bit of the background. It's gold leaf.
So you're putting, wait, like this little stuff here?
Yeah, that's gold as well. Because the gold, it's so strong. It was so powerful on her sort of neck and bracelet and waist that I had to put gold in the background because it was just too powerful being just in the middle of the painting.
So do you seal the entire thing in order to get an even gloss over the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing's varnished.
Okay. Man, you
She's
know, I love it. I love the juxtaposition between the abstract stone and then the figure, but then also how you made the jewelry two-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Built it up with gesso.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is cool, man. You're onto something here. That's awesome. And this is stone around the edges.
Yeah. So it's a reverse trompe l'oeil a little bit. The stone is just stone, and then the rest is painted.
Yeah, that's a trip. Huh. Yeah,
And
what's
then
this all about?
So this is the most recent work I'm doing. So I figured out I can remove that 5 millimeters of marble. And so I'm putting in mosaics. So this is a dress. It's not finished yet, so I always feel uncomfortable sending images of stuff that's not finished yet, except for stone carving. So, or I'm with this one, I'm not ready yet, but so I'm laying in mosaics. I remove 5 millimeters of stone, which is pretty much exactly how thick a bunch of different mosaics, especially ones from Mexico, are. And so I'm kind of building her dress. It's a female figure, and I'm building her dress out of mosaics.
Wait a minute. You say you removed 5 millimeters of stone. That's all of the stone.
But there's a dye bond backing.
So you're just taking away the stone off the dye bond in certain areas.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Man, so now you're combining painting on stone with mosaics and gold leaf.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow. Yeah, you're redefining mixed media.
I love materials. I just love different materials. And there it is, halfway laid in. So it's tedious because I'm cutting them. There's a couple ways to do mosaics. Usually people glue them on, and then you do a what's it called? I don't know the name because I've never done it. A grout.
Right. Yeah.
But here I'm cutting them all so that they precisely fit together.
You're not going to fill the grout at all, or fill it with anything.
No.
What do you cut them with?
So the area, I'll tell you a sec. The area on the outside has all been cut, and then those in the middle, starting with the blue, haven't been cut.
Right.
See, they don't fit.
You're just sort of figuring out what you want.
Exactly, and finding all the ones that are the right size before I cut them. They sell little. There's glass grinders,
like little table saws.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's a rotary with synthetic diamond bit. It's the same actually as what works on stone. And use water.
That looks like so much fun, dude.
It's so much
like
fun.
Your life feels like I mean this as a compliment because I'm envious, but it's like you're living kindergarten for grown-ups.
Yeah. I see it as an adventure into the past, but also moving forward.
Yeah.
Because I'm fascinated. You know, I went to Venice years ago and I saw the mosaics there. And upstairs, if you go into the cathedral in Venice, St. Mark's, they have it's hard to see the mosaics from the ground floor because they're so up high. So there's a little area where you can climb upstairs. And I got to see they had a little display of the old mosaics, and it's a piece of beautiful green glass. And then they lay the gold leaf on top of the glass, and then they cut them, and they're just so beautiful. So where the gold gets cracked a little bit, the green comes through, and the way they catch light. And again, it's something you got to see in person. So you know, I'm just curious about all these different ways that, you know, art can be made, and I'm becoming more of like a crafts person in a way than a painter. But yeah, it's fun.
Oh yeah, man, you're speaking my language. I love this kind of stuff. Have you considered doing stuff like this for architectural reasons, like in your home or otherwise?
No. Maybe eventually. I'm just making pictures right now. You know, I got to get on finding a gallery to sell these at. But yeah, you're an inventor. You do a little bit of everything. I've seen those pictures from your studio. I always wonder how you have your finger in so many, what's the phrase, pots or pies?
Yeah, I don't think we're that much different. I just am constantly distracted. But I mean, I'm disciplined because I know I need to get the painting done. So I definitely allot the time necessary to get the painting done. But I don't have other hobbies. It's just all hands. Working with my hands. So
yeah,
I'm not much of a reader. I don't watch a lot of TV. I probably should read more, but everything I do is with my hands. So
I stopped reading because of podcasts and Audible.
Same here. I've constantly got headphones on. I'm constantly listening to stuff. Yeah.
I don't read at all anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one. Yeah, man, this has been fun, dude. This is like great opening to bringing sculptors on the podcast.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a delight. I really, really appreciate it. And I've been listening to your podcast. You've got a wonderfully curious mind, and
Thanks, man. I
you're
appreciate
interested in every single guest. It's remarkable.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I genuinely am. So it works out pretty well. So, well, hey, I may reach out to you for that conversation because I'm genuinely interested in talking more about this whole technology thing.
Sure. And
I think it'd be great.
I'm also happy to share all the information I know about stone carving. So if you want the tools, it's so fun. You turn into a kid again.
I'll be in touch. Don't worry about that.
Happy to share all that info with you.
Absolutely. I'll be in touch. And I'm actually, so you're on Long Island. I'm actually headed to, have you seen the Sargent show yet?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it a great?
It's incredible. He's the master painter of painterly painters.
Oh yeah, man. I'm headed to New York on the 19th. And then I'm going to, at one day between the 19th and the 24th, I'm going to head to New York City and see that Sargent show. So I'm super excited about that.
If you want to come visit my studio, you are welcome to.
Yeah. How
if
far?
You have the time.
So how far is Long Island? Your house in Long Island?
I'm on eastern Long Island, so I'm 2 hours away. That might be tough for you to get if you
Long Island's that long?
Long Island's the biggest island, one of the biggest island. I think it's the biggest island in America, maybe.
Jeez, I didn't realize it was that long. 2 hours?
It's 3 hours from tip to tip, or 2 hours.
I had no idea.
No traffic. It's maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes tip to tip. With traffic, it can be. Yeah.
Holy cow. Well, if you or Katie want to join me at the museum, that'd be great too.
Might do that too.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, thanks again, man. It was great having you.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Jeff. All right.
Thanks for tuning in to the Undraped Artist Podcast. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. And if you could, leave a comment or review. That really helps the channel. Please share the show with your friends, and if you're feeling generous, consider a monthly donation at theundrapedartist.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week.